I watched two films. One was a silent film from 1930 that was actually directed by a whole bunch of young directors who would soon immigrate to America because of the rise of Nazism. This film was co-directed by Robert Siodmak and Edgar G. Ulmer. You'll recognize Siodmak from The Killers, among other things, and Edgar G. Ulmer did The Black Cat and Detour and a whole bunch of other great films. And this film was written by Billy Wilder, as well as Kurt Siodmak, who was, I believe, Robert Siodmak's brother. Yes, Robert Siodmak's brother. They worked on The Killers together. And it was shot by Eugen Schüfftan. The film is a documentary-ish, non-professional actors, not quite a narrative sort of thing. It is about 73 minutes long, and it's a great sort of time capsule of Weimar Germany right before the rise of Hitler. In it, you have a bunch of non-professional actors going about their day on a Sunday in 1929 and what it was like. And it's mostly people taking the train places, having dinner together, or breakfast, joking, going to the park, having fun, making out, going to the beach, having beer. I guess it's like a mixture of a documentary and a docudrama in that several of the characters played themselves. Like there's a taxi driver that was a taxi driver, and a record seller was a record seller. But then some of the actors are also playing roles-ish. And several of the actors that played on this also left Germany during the rise of Hitler. Like, that's a lot of people left during that time. If they could get out, they got out. It's a beautiful film. It's edited sort of similar to a lot of those late 20s Soviet films, like Man with a Movie Camera. A lot of quick cutting, a lot of gorgeous angles, and the way that Eugen Schüfftan shoots some of their heads and things are just, they're at these really interesting angles. And there's this one scene where they're at the beach or on the grass near water, and one of the main characters is just sort of taking a nap, and it's so beautifully shot. It's like the most beautiful, restful nap I've ever seen photographed. Absolutely gorgeous. So this film's on Filmstruck, and it was originally released by Criterion in 2011, and it came with a special feature, which was cinematographer Eugen Schüftan's only film as a director. This film is called Blaue, hinein, or Into the Blue, and it stars an actress that I have just discovered she's so gorgeous, and I need to see more of her films. Her name has escaped me. Oh God. Tony Van Eyck. I need to look her up. She is an androgynous dreamboat, and I need to know more about her. She didn't make very many films, but in this film, a bunch of young people basically hang out with dogs. Like, that's the bulk of the film. There's like a dog groomer, and there's rescue dogs, and there's people taking dogs on walks, and a woman who's just keeps getting into shenanigans with her dogs, and then they go on these big long car rides, and then they're in the like nature with the dogs, and then they take the dogs back, and there's just a lot of shenanigans go on with dogs and youthful glee. And it's shot and directed by Eugen Schüfftan, so it's got a very similar feel to People on Sunday, and it's the same, shot right around the same time, 1929. So you've got this sort of last grasp of Weimar Germany, sort of the joy that was there before the rise of Nazism, which is awful. And I guess if you're a fan of like Cabaret and some of those films that sort of fictionalize the end of Weimar Germany, these films are great sort of time capsules of that. And since I'm talking about Weimar Germany and the end of Weimar Germany, I have to recommend a book that my brother lent me many years ago called The Artificial Silk Girl. That's basically like a chick lit novel about a single woman in Weimar Germany sort of trying to get along. And it's a fascinating book, so you should check that one out. It's like the Bridget Jones of like Weimar Germany novels. So this was the People on Sunday, or what is it? Menschen on Sonntag, and Eins Blaue, hinein, Into the Blue. They're both really great. They're beautifully shot. One is a silent film, one is a talkie. I recommend them both. You can watch them on Filmstruck, or you can get the DVD from Criterion. If you enjoy this era of cinema, I think you will very much find a lot in these films. And especially with People on Sunday, you'll see a lot of early sort of Billy Wilderisms, early shots that look like later things that both Siodmak and Ulmer would do in their noir, and Ulmer in particular in a lot of some of his 30s films. It's just a great, interesting moment. I forgot one last thing I wanted to mention about Eugen Schüfftan. He shot a lot of films. He shot Metropolis. He shot Abel Gantz's Napoleon. He shot all the way up through The Hustler and Jack Garfin's Something Wild. He shot all kinds of movies, and he created a process called the Schüfftan process, which is a special effect where it's the process in Metropolis where you had the cityscape behind them, and it was sort of the early version of like blue screen and traveling matte paintings, and it's called the Schüfftan process. That is named after Eugen Schüfftan. So if you're interested in sort of his work, these are two films that are early in his career and really show his promise as a visual filmmaker. I also have to say, at the end of Ein Blaue, hinein, it has one of the best dog, like men chasing a dog scenes I've ever seen. I'm a big fan of like happy go lucky dogs running through cities and people chasing them, and I've seen a lot of them this year. There were several at Pordenone. Several of those silent films had like dog shenanigans, and this is beautifully shot dog shenanigans. So if you enjoy that, I recommend this. Eins Blaue, hinein is a special feature on the People on Sunday DVD and on the People on Sunday film on Filmstruck. So if you search it, you can't find it because it's a special feature. So look for the special feature. Both these films are great. Check them out. Chase some dogs. Hang out in the sun on Sundays. What's better than that?